Yeah. So, hi everyone. I am Suniti Suri. I'm the podcast mentor at Google Developer Student Club TIET. And today I have Jay Parmani here with me. He is a software engineer working at Apple under infrastructure and services. He is deeply involved with DevOps and was the former co lead of our club. We're so happy to have you here.
Thanks, Soniti, for the lovely introduction. It's nice to be on this podcast. And yeah, let's go. Super excited for what comes ahead.
Right. So, would you like to talk a little bit about yourself for the people who are listening?
Sure. So I think Suniti briefed it up really well, but I'm currently working as a software engineer in Apple since the start of this year, that is January. It's kind of been like 7 to 8 months. And I have graduated from Thapar University itself in the year of 2022. So yeah, I think right now I'm working full time with Apple, and it's going well. Yeah.
Right. So, why did you choose engineering? Like, why did you take up this as a profession?
That's a nice question. So actually, engineering, the idea of getting into engineering was there in my mind from quite long. And that too, I was very specific about something going in tech. So I remember when I was in like seventh or eighth standard, I was pretty sure that I want to do something related to computers. I did not know terms at that time. There's something like computer engineering in general or something, but yeah, I knew there will be something in tech I want to do. And there were like few minor subjects when we were in seventh and eighth where we used to go to, so like going to the computer lab was like the most exciting part of my school because we had AC there. We did not have that in classes. That was one reason. Another one being being geeky. It's like I like to play around what's going on. So yeah, that excited me to just explore what all is there. And then I realized I'm definitely not moving anywhere from computer engineering because maybe I'm just like too lazy. I like to sit and work. So yeah, that's how it became like I'll go for engineering, and I figured it out. And then I worked on it.
Right. So, like, what's the beauty of engineering? Why did you like decide to stick with this?
I think the beauty of engineering lies in the fact that it's meant to solve problems. So it's not just like small problems. It's problems at a huge scale, problems that affect a lot of people, problems that are changing like a lot of things you couldn't do before, and all of that is possible because of engineering. Engineering in any way, it's irrespective of the domain. It's any engineer you pick, it's solving something in that domain which is helping a lot of people, and it's like driving the country. If you see, in a way, it also helps you to develop yourself, so you get to work on yourself, you get to upskill yourself, but at the same time while doing that, you get a chance to work on something. You get chance to like innovate. So anything about around people who like to innovate, I think engineering, that's what is like the beauty of it.
Right. So, you stressed a lot about how engineering is about solving problems and
Yeah.
innovation, right? Do you really think the way we learn or like our education system, does it really focus on that? Does it really teach that?
So yeah, I think that's really an interesting question. So engineering, if you see it in the long term, right, I think, as I said, it's about solving problems. So once you have completed your studies and everything, you are definitely working on it. But yeah, the way it's perceived in colleges, it's pretty different from what I have seen. So there, although there are subjects, there are times when you are working on some problem, you are trying to solve it. But it's not like in a way that is going to go ahead. So for example, if I try to elaborate what I'm saying, um, engineering right now, it's being done from a perspective that, okay, I've completed my 12th standard, like I've completed my studies, and then people start choosing, okay, what branch they want to go into, and then they take it as just like a 4 year journey where they have subjects to complete, they have to score something. So like they have to, appear for exams, they have to just learn different subjects around whatever field they are choosing, and then it's done. And that's how also it's there mostly in the colleges um, where yeah, you have like regular classes, although there is focus on practicals, but it's not from a perspective of like problem solving. There are they
Marks.
you yeah, you are like, it's 4 marks, and even if you have problems, you already have the solutions to those problems. You just have to learn those solutions and try to see if you can gain some knowledge from solving those like problems by seeing the solutions. But yeah, it's usually taken off as something where okay, there are a set of 10 problems, I know the answer to this 10 problems, but I don't know if there is an 11th problem, how to start. So
Right.
everything starts with like, what if there is a problem, you should know where to think from, where to start from. So I think that needs to be cultivated mostly in mind of students, and that's how you should like enjoy the journey of engineering instead of just being like taking it as something where you are in a college, you are in a 4 year program to just complete it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just, become a part of this rat race without even like discovering their passion or discovering what they want to do. They just see it as an option that they want, that they can have in the future, and they just take it up as a 4 year program and they just finish the subjects.
That's absolutely true. What I would also like to add is just don't go into engineering because everyone is being engineer around you. Don't go in it because of peer pressure. Don't go in it because uh, you can't think of anything else. I mean, I'm sure if you give yourself some time, you can think of what you want to do. And you don't have to hurry. I mean, obviously there is a time where you have to take a decision, but then you don't have to take those decision on specific parameters that are just like stressing on you. You have to give yourself some enough time to decide what is there, what is not there, what you like doing in life.
Yeah. Right. So, like making a segue into your experience at Apple, what is it like?
All right. So I think Apple for me has been the first company where I got introduced to the corporate culture. So it hasn't been the first company I worked with, but it's a pretty big company where there are a lot of teams, there are a lot of employees, there are a lot of departments, and there is a big hierarchy. There are so many different processes you get introduced to. So that way, I think it has been from the very first day, it has been a lot of exposure for me to learn different processes, to learn different ethics of the company, how it drives its business, what are the roots of the company, how it drives those routes which they have decided into the technology they develop upon. So it's pretty interesting for me, and it's a pretty big field for me, to be honest, where I am still learning every day. So the experience has been really good. I would say like it has been like almost 7 months in the company, and every single week I have learned something new. So that way I'm really happy about it because the main driving factor for me has always been the work satisfaction. And every time I do something new, I learn something new that motivates me to like continue working on it. Maybe it's a project, maybe it's the team, maybe it's the same company I want to work with. So that way it has been going good, although there are very different opinions on this from people, because what I like to point here is someone's experience in a company, it really depends on, especially when it's a big company, it really depends on what team they are working with or what department they are working into. There are a lot of different factors there, even the role they have given. They it's like you could be a software developer, but then being a software developer, you're not doing every single thing that comes into software development. You are working on some specific part of it. So it also depends on that. What role is that? Is it something you like doing? Is it something you don't like doing? Because the last thing which someone should come into, like which they should keep, is expectations when you join something or you start something new. The reason being, if you're not open to changes, maybe good changes in a good way or changes in a bad way, you're stopping yourself from exploring something. So you shouldn't be afraid about it. Fortunately, in my case, it has been changes in a good way where I'm very happy about it. It has been working fine for me. So yeah, it has been going amazing.
Right. So a lot of engineering graduates nowadays look forward to work at startups. So what
Mhm.
is the difference in culture between working at a startup or working at a corporate company?
Okay, I think that's an awesome question, and I could answer it because just before I joined Apple, I was working with a startup company, and even before that, I've worked with a couple of startups. Not very long term, but fair enough that I know how startups work, what is the culture there, what is the work process there. So what I would like to point out here is that if like the main difference between a startup and a big corporate company like this is the process it follows in it could be process in anything. It could be a process in the product they are developing, or it could also be the process in which the company is following for, let's say, there is some problem and how it's been tackled uh, inside the company. So the main difference is between the processes, and the difference is there because of the sizes of the company. If there is something big, you need something more which manageable, and if there is something small, you can skip a few steps in between and then just make it work for yourself. So I think in startups it's a completely fair thing where engineers want to start working in startups. The reason being, you get a lot of recognition there. That's the first thing. And who does not like recognition, especially when you are starting your career? You get that pump that, okay, you are good at what you are doing. You get introduced to like building something if you haven't before for production. You get to really solve a problem, as we were talking before.
Absolutely.
So and your involvement in that entire process when you're a startup is very high as compared to your involvement when you are there in a corporate company. Not that you don't have the involvement in big companies as well, but it gets time. It takes a lot of time for you to reach there, and for being at a position in your team where you can be someone who is very much responsible for driving a decision. But in startups, even what happened with me was, wherever I have worked before in startups, it has been just a week or so, like maybe just 10 days. And I have been part of big decisions which are being taken for, how to design a product or how something should be done. And I think for anyone who is like new, it's a place for them to just explore themselves a lot. Because I think honestly, you make mistakes anywhere. You can make a mistake while you are in a startup. You can make a mistake while you are there in a big company. But the sooner you make a mistake, the sooner you will learn back what not to do. And in startups, because you do a lot of things, the more mistakes you make and the quicker you learn. So I think initially, if you just like um, just would need a boost of some experience, and just do a lot of things which you have already been doing, but do that on a big scale. Startups is like a really great option, and that's like, I think, the biggest difference. The experience you get in both of those places is like widely different, and recognition is also the another one.
Right. Do you have any suggestion for upcoming engineers?
um yeah, I think uh, I have a few suggestions for upcoming engineers. The first one being, even before you get into engineering, just make your mind that the journey is never like a straight road. There are a lot of things that are going to come different. So be open to challenges. And the second thing being, don't there is no defined path when you are in engineering. Even when you are college, when you have that 4 years of college, there isn't any defined path. There is a defined path with respect to clearing your subjects, getting a degree, but apart from that, you have like 50% of the time with yourself to do whatever you want to. So as an upcoming engineer, you could make good use of that time. um, how how you could um, like make that make the best out of the time you get during engineering. I think maybe that would be another suggestion from me. And yeah, I think that's like the most of it I would like to say.
Right. So you talked about how we have 50% of our time to explore, right? So how
Yeah.
can somebody, choose their domain? And like at what point do they need to jump between different things or different domains?
All right. So yeah, I think there there is a I'd like to separate two things. So there is a time when you actually jump between domains, and then there is a time where you actually don't jump between domains. So I'll tell from my perspective what could be the right time to do something. Although the experiences are very different for everyone, but I think there is some point where it becomes common, and if you take care of few things, you might be able to make a better use of time. So from my experience, what I found out is, um, obviously the first thing if you are into engineering is you need to figure out what you like to do, and the way to figure out is to jump between different domains and see what all is there in that domain, what all it gives you once you are in that domain uh, in a long term, and what all it takes to be good in that domain. There are three things, uh, what I said. So and then you have to evaluate on those three things to decide what domain you should pick. So the right time, I think I would say is to jump between domains is as soon as you get into engineering, right? You have your first year, you have almost, I think, even your second year. You can use the best of it to just explore different technologies, different domains, um, and there are numerous resources for it. You could maybe take up a small course on that and see if that excites you. You could maybe see a couple of YouTube videos, or I think another way which if it's possible is the best is to connect with people in those domains if you can, maybe your seniors, maybe someone you know who's working in startups, and to know how their life is when they are working full time in that domain, and if you relate to that life of theirs. Is it something which you like doing, or is it
Mhm.
something you would think, oh shit, it's just boring, I don't think I will be able to do it? So I think you can try those different things, and then once you have taken enough jumps, you have like tasted everything you can. That's when you need to stop jumping and then start working on something so that you can be really good at it. Because in a long term, it's even you can be like the jack of all trades, but you need to be worthy enough to be picked for something which you can work on.
Mhm.
So if you have knowledge about all the domains, that's very good. I think you will have that when you are exploring, and you will have enough of it. You can shortlist maybe one domain where you want to work full time, where you want to explore really much, and then you can have another domain which you might use when you are just like bored or something. You might just explore it. So that way you can have a couple of things which you are good at. But I think the end goal is to master in something where you can represent yourself as one of the best, and that only comes when you have like a clear path with yourself, that okay, now for example this is the domain I'm working on. You just entirely give your time on that. You take the best of the courses you can. You talk to the most of the people who are in that domain. You try to find opportunities where you can work in that domain during your college itself. It could be small projects, it could be hackathons, it could be startups, it could be just writing tech blogs on something which you have learned anyway. um, so yeah, I think that's and then there is always a fact that there is no age to start learning. So once you feel okay, you have reached a good level where okay, you have a good knowledge on some domain, and you can basically, you can take that domain as something where you can tell people, oh, I'm good at it, maybe I can work on this or something. Then you always have time in your life to learn something new in your free time. But to pick something which is like you have to be good at, it's really important. You have to stop jumping at some point of time and focus on one thing and be good at it.
So you have to focus on creating your niche.
Exactly. I think uh, you can't be irreplaceable at any place. You can't be irreplaceable, but you can become tough to be irreplaceable.
Mm.
And the more tough you make it yourself to be irreplaceable, it means the better you are at it. So I think, and how do you become tough to be irreplaceable? That's when you give enough time into what you are doing so that you know ins and outs of it.
Mm.
And when do you get time? You get time when you stop jumping and start working on it. So I think if you can take it from step 1 to 4, you can take it from step 4 to 1, and then like that's how you can drive.
Yeah, that's a very cool thing that you said.
Yeah.
Right. So another question a lot of people have is how do how can one face imposter syndrome?
Um, okay, that's a really interesting one. I think um, I, there are a lot of people already having imposter syndrome, but they might not talk about it. So I
Like, do
think,
you face
tough-
imposter syndrome?
yeah, I think at some point of time, everyone does get that feeling. It
Yeah.
might not be something which lasts very long, but it might be something even if you feel if you get that feeling for an hour, you would think about it for the whole day. It's something like that. So yeah, I think it's not that, and no one has ever had that, but yeah, tell a few things which might help to tackle it, or you might take it in like a positive way and make something out of it. So you can't like, if you are already having an imposter syndrome, you can't stop yourself from getting it. You can, but when you are getting it, you can't stop. But then you can take that thought positively and mold it into something so that you don't feel bad after it.
Right.
So yeah, I think one thing is talking about it. You are not, yeah, basically you're not the one only facing it. Maybe there are a lot of people around you. You can just, if you just share your thoughts with them, you'll see, okay, it isn't something you have to be scared of. And another thing is, you never should self doubt yourself, and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to others uh, every now and then. Um, I'll put some stress on the second point, and then I'll come to the first one. So when I say don't compare yourself with others now and then, it does not mean you don't have to be competitive enough with someone. Definitely have to be in a competitive state. But then what you need to also understand is everybody is having their own journey, right? You might have started doing something after 7 months, and the other person might have started doing them from the second month itself. So both of you, technically speaking, you are on a different journey. He is already 5 months ahead of you. So if you want to compare you to someone, compare to the 5-year-old version of him. Or the best I would say is just compare yourself to an older version of yourself. That's how you can remove self-doubt. If you have been doing something, uh, let's say today, and then after 3 months, you figure out, oh, last time it took me like an hour to figure it out, but now I have been doing it in like 30 minutes. You have already become a better version of yourself, and that's where you can kill your self-doubt and try to tackle imposter syndrome. Um, so yeah, I think that's most of it, but yeah, I think just speak about it to people. It's not that no one's having it. A lot of people go through it, and it takes time, and you just need to be confident enough. Just don't lose confidence. It's a long journey, so
Mhm.
you might just feel like a bit low for some amount of time, but then it's like every stock market even has a graph where it goes down and goes up again.
Yeah.
And celebrate every moment, I would say. Even if you create something which someone can maybe like create in 10 minutes, you create it in an hour, but just celebrate it. Oh, I wasn't able to do it yesterday, but I did it today.
Mhm.
So that's a moment of celebration. If you get a internship or something, just celebrate it. If you get an opportunity to work on a project, celebrate it. If you participate in a hackathon, maybe you don't win, but you are just given enough recognition by the mentors there, by the teams there. Just celebrate it. You are not bad. You're just on your own journey. So it will take time, and you will figure it.
Right. So like now that when placement season's there and people are applying for placements and internships, how can one keep their mental strength when other people are getting internships and jobs, and you are not getting that opportunity, but you feel like you're a more deserving person, regardless of whether you feel like you're more deserving or not? How can one keep up with that mental strength?
All right. So I think one there are two sides of it. Um, One is to understand that something is a fact. Another side is to keep yourself so busy that you don't have to worry about it. And then keep yourself busy in that way that the moment you use that time productively, you are far more better than others. And then you have at least so so the way it's like, okay, it's always going to happen where you are in college, there are companies coming for internships, there are complete companies coming for placements, and people are getting placed around you. There are 10 companies coming every day and then 60 candidates getting shortlisted, like getting placements or getting internships every day, and it's going to keep on happening. That's a fact, you can't change it. And you can't stop others from going into something, getting into something, regardless of the fact if they work better than you or if they aren't better than you. That's a separate, that's a different topic to talk on. But you can't stop them. What you can do is to just give your best in that situation. Any hard work you put into anything you're working upon is not going to go in waste. It's just a matter of time at the end when it just bumps up. So it could be possible that for 5 months you are in your college and everyone's around you getting placed, but then you just need one opportunity where there isn't anyone who could cross you, and that opportunity will come. But I can't say if it comes in 5 months, if it comes in 6 months, or if it might take a long. So being patient is very important at these point of times. You can't be impatient and then also tune your own plans in that case, where you are just spending your mind in thinking, why isn't it happening with me? Instead of spending that time, just keep patience, just take deep breaths, be calm with yourself, and be confident about yourself that yeah, when my time comes, I'm going to do it, and prepare yourself for it. So I think that's always a thing, and then don't stop trying. If there are companies coming to the college for placements, don't stop trying. Apply as much as you can to companies you feel you want to work with, not that you just randomly apply to anything. But also try connecting to other people on LinkedIn, or try to get into startups, try to do some freelance gigs. I would say don't you don't have to necessarily uh, you know get into that hype of college placements.
Right.
It happens everywhere. Every college has its placement seasons, and everywhere there is so much buzz around, okay, this company is coming, this company is coming. But at the end, if you are able to pull up something by freelancing, if you are able to work with a startup while you are in a college, if you are able to build anything, you are able to put it out on YouTube, you are able to put it out to the people are appreciating it. You have invested good amount of time in whatever you are doing, and that will definitely pay up at some point of time.
I think
So yeah,
um I think also one should try to find something that's a right fit for them. Reiterating to the rat race point, a lot of people forget that. A lot of people just go in for placements of SD because everybody's doing that, or companies are coming related to that, and they think this is the only path to life. A lot of people forget to find what fits them the best.
totally. Yeah, I think that's really important. If you can't pick something that fits for you, you are always going to suffer in the long term.
Yeah.
So you definitely need to. That's what I said. Don't just apply to any random companies. Right? Just look at what job profile they are giving. What is the company? What will, even if you go into interviews, ask that question. What will be working on? Just don't have to be someone who is. They are asking questions, you are answering. they're asking you to solve a problem you're solving. Don't do that. That's like
Right. So, how did you spend your time in college?
all right. I think most
We
people
can
around me know
you
about
can
it.
also talk about what your daily timetable was like.
Yeah, I think so. Like most people around me knew about it, but then a lot of people asked that to me, but I haven't got a chance to like put it out specifically. So my timetable used to be, I was not a guy who used to miss classes, like not miss all the classes. And to be more specific, I used to miss classes, but like very less. And the reason for that wasn't like uh, I I'm like literally going to those classes and listening everything, making notes and something. I did not used to do that, but just that if I don't go to classes, I felt like, oh, I'm missing something, and then I wasn't able to use that time to work on myself. So it was just happening with me where I felt like, oh, I'm just leaving classes and then I don't know what to do. So yeah, the schedule used to be, I used to sleep on time, I used to go to classes, I used to come back, and then every day I had something to work upon. Um, I I I just used YouTube a lot, like a lot. Not that I was seeing any funny videos or something, but I used to see a lot of tech content on YouTube. I still do whenever I get time. But yeah, I think that's how I used to stay updated in this world around what's happening with respect to what I'm already working upon, something around something I plan to learn or something. And yeah, I think I wasn't much involved into sports activities or something. We used to chill out. We used to go on a walk and maybe spend a day like that. Sometimes just to nothing for a day, just listen songs or something. But yeah, apart from that, I used to, as I said, I was I was pretty clear about that 50-50% split where I knew like once I'm back from college, I have to um, completely like I felt good when once I developed something, I learned something. I had a pretty good sleep after that. So so yeah, I used to do that. And another rule which was very clear for me was whenever there are exams approaching, I stop everything because I've already been doing it every day. So I stop everything. I focus on exams. I focus on the subjects I have to work upon. I used to prioritize subjects, by the way. I used to choose like out of five subjects, which are the subjects which have good credits as compared to the other ones, and I used to focus more on that to just keep a balance of CGP as well. And yeah, I think that's how a couple of years in my college went, like 1 to 1.5 years, and then COVID hit up. So then it was all remotely. So in remote, there wasn't any specific schedules. Even I did not used to attend classes. I used to, but passively. And I was, yeah, I think when the college started remotely, that's when I felt now I have a lot of time to work on anything I want to. So then that 50% also changed to something more. I had more time for my family. I had more time for people around me, and I also had more time for myself. So yeah, that's how college ended up. There wasn't any like very interesting, but yeah, it turned out to be pretty well. I'm happy with whatever it has been going on with.
Would you like to talk about some of the things that you worked upon after you came back from classes?
You, do you mean like anything specific to tech in general, or like working upon as in?
Tech in general.
Yeah, I think so. Right after I came from the classes, there always used to be a day before that day where I felt like ab bahut ho gaya hai. I need to stop doing this, but I'll do it tomorrow. So there was always a backlog on my end. So that's the first thing I used to do is clear up that backlog. Where I used to come, um, if there is I used to basically for the couple of like for the first semester I used to just explore all the texts where whatever we discuss, what is machine learning, what is web development. I also tried active. I used to go to the the programs made by tech societies, like boot camps or something. I used to attend those, yeah, after my classes. But yeah, right after that, I knew I want to go in the web dev active field. So that was mostly my schedule. I picked up technologies I knew I want to do Node.js in the backend, so I picked it up. I was also working on React Native at same point of time for app dev. And then I used to balance time between it. Usually it's like if I get bored of one thing, I always kept another thing which is pretty different from it, so that I never get bored of doing tech in general. So yeah, that's how I used to manage that. And then yeah, after both of that happened, after I was like, I still don't I still don't feel like I am full, like full in a way that okay, I have learned this much or this much. I still always see that if I'm here one day, there is a lot of things coming above that. So it's never going to end. But yeah, after I reached a certain good level at both of those, I was like, let's try DevOps, man. Like you finally wanna take things to the public. And I was also working with the government of Patiala at that point of time. So yeah, the need there was to obviously build something, but then you can't just build and leave it. You have to be presentable enough to take it to the masses. So that's where I got into DevOps. I used to spend time on that, and all of that was from different courses on Udemy, from different videos or channels on YouTube. And then yeah, I had a group of people with me. There were different groups of people. So my couple of years in my college, when I was actually in my college, my group was different. When it all started remotely, the group of people which I was working with were different, and then we used to basically work as a team. So yeah, spending time with the team, building something, that's how it
Right. So, do you have like any advice or general tips and tricks for people who are currently in college?
went. Yeah, I think what general advices could be to enjoy the process of engineering. Just enjoy it in all ways. If you like to do something, this is the right time to do it. Not in tech, but even if you think you want to go ahead and do something in a specific sports, you want to be good at badminton, that's the right time to do it, because you have a lot of time. So yeah, make good use of time, make good friends, make good connections, uh, try to open up as much as you can. That's something I was a bit late at, but then I realized it's a good thing. So try to interact as much as you can. Try to attend different boot camps you can at that point of time. So yeah, just don't sit idle. Just keep yourself active, because everything you put, even a single minute you put, it's going to be of a lot at a long term. And you don't have any pressure on yourself. It's just the college exams, but you don't have a job where you have to punch in a specific amount of time. There's no boss on you, there's no manager, there's no one counting on you apart from you being scoring good in exams and your parents are happy with you. So yeah, just focus on that and have a good time.
Right. Thank you so much for being a part of this. It was amazing to, have a conversation with you. There was like a lot to learn and a lot of things that we discussed upon which I could relate with, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can also relate with that.
Thanks. I think really thanks for inviting me here. It was awesome to talk upon this, because there are a very few times where I speak publicly about such things. Like I usually don't. So I think that was great. I also enjoyed it, and yep, um, had an awesome time.
Thank you.